Today, let us pay attention to the one word rest, R-E-S-T. If you do not rest, you will soon rest in peace. There is a time to labor, and there is a time to seek rest and to seek the presence of God. There is a sin that many of you listening to me are committing. I wonder if I am not a victim of the same. The sin is that we do not take care of our bodies. I am not talking about dressing up well. I am not talking about not bathing or applying a good body cream. I am talking about not resting. You can discover the sin when you read the very first lines of today's gospel passage from Mark chapter 7, verses 24 and following. Listen to it. Jesus left Gennesaret and set out for the territory of Tyre. There he went into a house and did not want anyone to know he was there. Verse 24. This is abundantly clear. Jesus wanted to be alone. He needed rest. He did not want anyone to know where he was means, or it implies that he desperately needed rest. You also need to be refreshed and renewed, both physically and spiritually sometimes. If you don't rest, people will soon lay you to rest and ask you to rest in peace. Let clergymen take this seriously. Let my dear parents take this to heart. They would always want to be the first to leave for the farm early in the morning and the last to come back late in the evening. Then on country Sundays, they are either picking beans or threshing corn. God rested on the seventh day. Jesus rested. We ought to take care of our bodies. Permit that we see what Jesus did when he needed a quiet time. He withdrew. The only place he could find freedom from the crowds was in the northern area at the border of a Gentile territory, because he knew no Jew was likely to enter Gentile areas. The one verse we are looking at, verse 24, says, and I read again, Jesus left Gennesaret and set out for the territory of Tyre. Tyre was the capital of Phoenicia. And you know what? Jesus' stay in this territory was apparently about 6 months long. New discovery, I think. But this aspect stresses rather how much time Jesus could spend in God's presence on a spiritual retreat. When is the last time you had a retreat? Or you have never had? If you are in Kumbo, come to the PRist community. They have a good retreating facility and they have directors if you need one. To rest is not to be lazy. The problem with resting is that it could become an addiction. You must have heard that there are people who rest. They sleep, that's rest. Wake up and begin to feel tired of having slept much. Then they go back to rest. That is resting from resting. It is the Duke of Wellington. Wellington is in New Zealand, that island next to Australia. It is the Duke of Wellington who says, when one begins to turn in bed, it is time to turn out. We rest from work or after work, not after resting. So there are those who work without resting, and there are those who rest without working. To those who work without resting, if at all you have time out of your busy schedule, read Mark chapter 6 verse 31. But since you may not have time, let us read it here and now. Mark 6:31. There were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his disciples didn't even have time to eat. So Jesus said to them, let us go off by ourselves to some place where we will be alone and you can rest for a while. And to those who rest without working, if at all you will have time out of your lazy schedule, read 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 11 and verse 12. It says, we hear that there are some people among you who live lazy lives, and who do nothing except meddle in other people's business. In the name of the Lord, we command these people and warn them to lead orderly lives and work to earn their own living. Laziness is a capital sin. Laziness is a highway to gossiping. With scorn, lazy people call some people workaholics, while they themselves are lazy alcoholics. But then, let the workaholics know that God rested. Jesus rested and sought God's presence. Rest too, for if you work without ever resting, the rest of the people will lay you to rest and beg you to rest in peace.